Hello everyone, welcome back. So today we are talking about the next model, which is quantum mechanical model for an atom. And this model is based upon two basic principles, which is de Broglie's wave particle dual nature and the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Let us just go through these two theories very quickly. So de Broglie said that matter can be classified as a particle and a wave character. And de Broglie combined these two characteristics or features of a matter to one single equation where he considered the wave nature of matter and its particle nature through momentum, which is mass into velocity. Second principle on which this model is based is Heisenberg uncertainty principle. And this principle says for a microscopic objects, it is impossible to determine the velocity as well as position together or simultaneously with high precision. Here the high precision or accuracy is termed to be uncertainty. So if you are determining the position of a particle, it will be highly accurately determined velocity and vice versa. So that uncertainty is basically reflecting the inaccuracy, or more will be the error in the value determined. And this is giving me higher than h by 4 pi value. So this p is representing momentum, which can also be represented as m delta v, which is mass of the particle, and velocity. Though these two principles can be applied to macroscopic as well as microscopic systems or objects, but their effect is more pronounced when applied to microscopic objects. So de Broglie wavelength says this is applied to all kinds of matter, irrespective of whether you can see it or not. So whether it is tiny, which is microscopic, or whether it is a huge like us. But the wave character will come out more pronounced in case of microscopic objects or microscopic particles. Such as electron. So based on these two, Schrödinger, another scientist, gave a mathematical form which is called as Schrödinger wave equation, and the simplified form is represented as h psi is equals to E psi. This is h with a cap over it. So let us see what does this equation mean. Here h is called a Hamiltonian operator. An operator generally means a mathematical function. Such as if I am defining a function to be x square. This is a mathematical function, or d by dx, or d square by dx square. So there can be n number of mathematical function. So that is an operator in general. Hamiltonian operator, this word signifies that it is an energy operator. Energy operator means this kind of operator comes out from the energy components of the system. So in this given system, suppose we are considering nucleus and an electron which is revolving around it. So since this electron is moving, it has a velocity which is associated with the kinetic energy of the electron. And the two positive and negative charge will have Coulomb forces which will give rise to the potential energy for the system. So these two energy will make the total energy of the atom or the system we are considering here, and this whole total energy will depend on the direction, which is x, y and z axis, as well as the distance of nucleus and the electron. So this is basically coordinate dependent function. So Hamiltonian operator is an energy operator or energy function. Now next term is psi. Psi is called a wave function. Now here this theory uses this de Broglie's duality, and electron is a particle, but this theory considered it to be a wave character. So this associated the electron with its wave character, and that wave character is represented by the wave function. So wave function is another equation or mathematical function form which is used and representing the motion of electron. So this is basically representing, you can say, motion or position of electron, how electron is revolving around the nucleus in an atom. And this can have any kind of structure like a quadratic equation, or it can be since we are talking in terms of waves, it can have wave character like sin x or cos x and so on, depending on how we are solving the equations. Now E basically determines the energy of electron. So here the energy of electron, like wave function, this is also called atomic orbital. Okay, so suppose I am taking an example that Hamiltonian operator is considered to be second order differential. Okay, and wave function is considered to be sin x. Then h psi will be equals to d square by dx square of sin x, and this will come out to be minus 1 of sin x. This is similar to E psi. So this is the psi part and this is the E part. So basically when I am using some wave function which is satisfying the whole system and its associated energy operator, I am getting some value. This value, the prefactor we can say, this value is associated with the energy of electron present in that atomic orbit. So basically this is returning me a quantized energy of electron, or you can say atomic orbital in which it is present. Now this orbital means a three-dimensional space. This is not like Bohr orbit. In case of Bohr orbit, it was defined to be a circular path, a well-defined path where electron is present. But here we are talking in terms of orbitals or space around the nucleus. So it is a three-dimensional space around the nucleus where the electron is present. And here we are taking another term of probability of finding. Probability of finding electron. So we are removing the certainty and incorporating the chances or uncertainties. So probability is basically reflecting the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. And this probability of finding the electron gives us the electron density cloud around the nucleus, and this is represented by square of the wave function. Since I said wave function has the information about the electron, so wave function is basically giving me information about electron, and information means its position, energy, etc. So it is giving an address of an electron where you can find it, most probably find it. Now, since considering the same example of sin x to be wave function, when the x value changes, the coordinate changes from positive to negative value, the psi will also change. So psi can have positive as well as negative value, but you see psi square will always have a positive value because it is a square of it. For example, if I am considering psi to be like this, a sine function of distance along x-axis, then my psi square will always be positive and will be represented like this. So here the negative part of wave function has become positive. So these are just the sign of the wave function, it is not related to the electron density or the presence of electron. This is not the charge of electron, this is just the wave function. The mathematical function is positive or negative. Now, while crossing from positive to negative, it is passing through 0, right? Over here. So these points are also significant because these are implied or called as nodes. So nodes are represented as where the wave function square is 0, or it is called the region around nucleus in an atom where the probability of finding electron is 0. The electron is not present. So if it is important to know where the electron can be present around the nucleus, it is also important to know the regions or space or places where electron density is 0. So both things are important. So these nodes can be defined or can be categorized into two kinds of nodes. So depending on whether we are looking along an axis or in a plane. So this can be one dimensional, you can say, or two dimensional regions. So this is defined as or categorized as angular and radial nodes. Radial means along the radius of an atom, and angular means it is a plane at some angle from the nucleus or considering the nuclear axis basically. Now let us see a little bit more about the wave function and what does it give us, the information it gives about the atom. This wave function, as a solution of the wave function, we can say we get the quantum numbers. So this is exactly like you are solving this quadratic equation. You will get two values of x, say m and n. These are also called roots or the possible solutions to the equation, right? So similarly, psi wave function is also a mathematical function. It will also return some of the possible values of the variable in it. So these variables, the possible roots for as a solution of wave function are called quantum numbers. And there are four solutions or four types of quantum numbers that come as a solution to this wave function. And these quantum numbers gives us the complete address or information about the presence of electron around the nucleus in an atom. So there are certain features that we have learned about the new atomic model, and those features are: first, the energy is quantized because we are getting certain values of energy whenever we are using the Schrodinger wave equation. Secondly, we are getting the probability of finding an electron, which is represented as psi square, and this probability gives us the space or the region. So we are getting a concept of orbital. Moreover, these orbitals can have maximum of 2 electrons in it. So these orbitals can have 2 electrons, 2 possible electrons in it, right? And for multi-electron systems, these orbitals we are talking about, or atomic orbitals, are occupied in increasing order of energy. So suppose for a wave function we are getting different atomic orbitals. Each orbital is associated with value E, and the lower energy states or lower energy orbitals are filled first or occupied by the electron, and then the higher ones. Yeah. So let us see what these quantum numbers are and what do they signify and how do they structure the atom, or how do they categorize electrons or place electrons within an atom. So we are doing quantum numbers, and these are outcome of wave equation or wave function. So first one is the principal quantum number. This is represented by n, and it can have value from 1, 2, 3 and so on. In your previous class you have done this kind of a thing, but in a different way. You have studied K, L, M, N as shells. So this is also called shell. This is a shell around the nucleus represented by some alphabets. This also has energy associated with it. So energy of atomic orbitals, lower orbitals, and also the distance of nucleus and shell. So as n increases, r or the distance will increase. This is n1, this is n2. So distance is increasing, so energy is also increasing in the same way. So the distance between electron and the nucleus will increase if it occupies the higher shells. Second one is azimuthal or orbital quantum number. This is represented as small l, and this can have value from 0 to n-1 with a gap of 1. So for example, for n is equals to 2, L can have value 0 and 1. So these are two possible values present in 2 shell, and this is also called subshell. Or I'll write here subshell. So a shell will have 2 subshells. The second shell will have 2 subshells. Similarly, first shell will have only 1 subshell, because 1 minus 1 is 0. Just like shell is represented by some alphabets, this L is also represented by some alphabets. So suppose for these values of L, the alphabet representation is S, P, D, F, G, H, and then I, J, K, L, so on are used. So L0 means it is an S orbital, P is 1, so L1 is P orbital, L2 is D orbital, L3 means F orbitals. So these are the orbitals which takes up electrons in it. This also orbital shows the kind of wave function or the behavior of wave function with respect to distance. For example, in case of S orbital, the graph of psi versus distance, if this is considered to be the nucleus, the origin point, it is going to be spherically symmetrical. The wave function has a form where the spherical symmetry is there. So that is why it is called spherically symmetrical orbital. Here the electron density is high near nucleus and it decreases with distance r from the nucleus. Similarly, the solution as a wave function when plotted for L is equals to 1 and considering the same thing, suppose this is x-axis, this is z-axis, and this is the position of the nucleus at the origin, then the wave function has a form of like this. So you can consider this a kind of balloon up and balloon down. So here you see the wave function has positive value as well as a negative value like we did just before, then psi can have a two different signs, and these signs do not reflect the electron density, as you will use these shapes of the orbitals while studying the chemical bonding in the next class or in next units. So plus minus are signifying the psi wave function sign, and not the electron density is not associated with it. Electron density is less near the nucleus, it increases, then as we move further it is decreasing. So electron density is somewhere here. Here the probability is almost 95%. The chances of finding the electron is 95% over a distance from the nucleus, whereas here the chances of finding electron are more closer. So R is smaller in this case as compared to the p orbital. Like I have drawn this orbital along the z-axis, so this is called pz. So similarly there can be orbital along px and py. So basically these orbitals gives the directionality to the wave function. And here comes the role of the third quantum number, which is called magnetic quantum number. It is represented as ml, and this ml can have value from minus L to 0 to plus L with a change of plus 1. For example, for L is equals to 1, ml can have value from minus 1, 0 to plus 1. So there are three possible values or three possible orientations, you can say, along x-axis, along y, along z. Similarly, there can be other directions within the three-dimensional space. Suppose there can be another axis which is xy, which is passing in between the two axes. There can be xz, there can be yz. So these also define some directionality, not for this but for some other orbitals. So likewise for L is equals to 2, ml can have values from minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1 and 2. So in total there are 5 orbitals or directions, basically 5 directions in which orbital is present. Okay. So in total, so maximum number of orbitals associated with a subshell, in a subshell L is 2L plus 1, and each subshell has, and each shell has n subshells. Okay. Now the next quantum number that comes out to be the fourth one is called magnetic spin quantum number. This can have two definite values of plus half and minus half. This quantum number basically signifies that electron is acting as a tiny bar magnet. Since a tiny bar magnet or a magnet basically can have upspin or downspin, just like a magnet can have a north pole and south pole, two different directions. So this is also reflecting the same thing. So if we are associating plus half value with upspin, it means the second half value is associated with downspin of the electron, considering it as a tiny magnet. So these four quantum numbers in together signifies the presence of electron in a definite atomic orbital. Now comes the question of nodes. In case of nodes for any given orbital, so as I said, there are radial nodes and there are angular nodes. So angular nodes, the number of angular nodes is equals to L, and radial nodes is equals to n minus L minus 1. So total nodes are basically n minus 1. Let us see few examples. What does it mean? So suppose if I am saying 2p orbital, then it means its n is 2 and L for p is 1. So it is second shell and one subshell, and one will have ml values of +1, 0, -1. So these are the orbitals, and the maximum number of electron in one orbital is 2, and number of orbitals in a shell is n square. So number of electron, or you can say maximum number of electron in a shell is given by 2n square, where half of the electron will have plus half spin and other half will have minus half spin. So this is how electrons are distributed around the nucleus. Similarly, if we want to see how the psi or psi square basically varies with distance for any given orbital. So let us see how do we see it. So similarly, say for the 2p case, here we need to know the number of nodes as well. So nodes, first radial nodes and angular nodes. Angular nodes for 2p orbital is going to be L, which is 1, and radial nodes is 2 minus, which is n minus L minus 1. So 2 minus 1 minus 1, which is 0. So there is no radial node. So if we are drawing this and considering this as the nucleus, so along the axis there is no node. So electron density is there. Angular node means at one angle or one plane, as I said, this is a two-dimensional node. Along one plane there is a node, there is no electron density. So if we are considering this x-axis, then the electron density is present along the axis, but along this plane, along this plane. So if this is my y and z axis, then this is the kind of wave function square which I am getting, a wave function basically we are getting. So above there is a density, below there is a density, but in the plane it is a nodal plane. So if I want to draw psi for this, first let us draw psi. So the psi is going to be at a nucleus, it is 0. So it will start over here. As we go away from the nucleus, it increases. Somewhere here it is high density, and then as we are moving further down or away, the density is decreasing, approaching to 0 at some infinite distance. So this is R and this is psi. Now considering the square of this plot is going to the similar one, only with a higher amplitude. So this is my psi square. Similarly, if I am drawing for 2s orbital, now again I have to look into the nodes. So I have radial nodes and angular nodes. So radial is going to be 2 minus 0 minus 1, 1, and angular is 0. So S is spherically symmetrical, and along the axis there is one node. So this, suppose, then there is another. So this will look like somewhat this. So here the electron density is present, then there is a node, and then this is the electron density region. So this is what it means, the nodes and the probability of finding electrons. This is a psi versus R plot. So next we will do the electronic configuration. Thank you very much.